against Joe Biden.
I agree, but it isn't as simple as just going the lesser of two evils. And you know what I experienced in 2016, David? I experienced friends of mine who lived in swing states who voted for Hillary Clinton because they were so scared of Trump, and they cried in their car because they had to vote for such an awful nominee. I live in California, a safe state, so I pulled the lever for Jill Stein, not just for myself, but for them and for this country. So I want you to say to me that I was wrong. That's what I want from you. I want you to say to me that I was wrong.
There are people that had their family members deported by Donald Trump. I think there
are people that had family members deported by Barack Obama.
Is a little more important. Those people that lost their family members is a little more important than somebody crying over a vote.
Wow, I thought usually I'm the one who gets usually I'm the one who gets heated. This is funny that I'm not the one. But
so that, of course, is a perfect example of the white people problems of Ron Placone. I pulled the lever for Jill Stein for them. Like, honestly, come on. That's just straight silly. The level of emotion he has about that, like first of all, it doesn't make any sense. Pull the lever for Jill Stein. You're not pulling the lever for anybody else, none of your friends, except you're just pulling the lever for yourself. Your vote really just counts for yourself. He's the first person I've ever heard who has this idea that he's gonna vote for somebody who can't vote for a candidate. Like, what kind of mentality is that? It doesn't even make sense. I'm going to vote for you because I live in California. So to me, this in many ways is an example of white people problem, because he is so dramatic because his friends cried in the car after voting for Hillary Clinton. Like, I mean, I don't know, like some people I even respect, some progressives I respect, they're asking not to minimize this. But come on, this is straight laughable. Like, we're supposed to feel bad because some person feels bad about voting for a president of the evil empire. Like, just think about that for a second. Do Ron Placone's friends ever feel bad about eating meat? About basically they're just eating a whole species that is just made for mass slaughtering for our pleasure? Do they sit in their cars and cry about that? Probably not. Does Ron Placone's friends sit in their car and cry because they're wearing clothes from manufactured from a third world country from some people for dirt cheap? Do they cry for their clothes being made by children at sweatshops without them knowing, but most likely, like probably a quarter of our clothes are made in some way in that fashion? Are they crying over that? Are they crying over driving a car? You say your friend sat in a car. The car is the cause is one of the main causes of global warming. Are they crying for that? Are they crying because they're supporting and promoting the oil industry, which is causing the very havoc that they are supposedly rebelling against? The oil industry is one of the biggest lobbyists of the war machine of wars, and they're driving a fucking car. Are they not crying? Oh, I'm driving a car. Are they not crying about that? Do they cry about just, living in the suburbs or whatever? The suburbs were founded not only by promoting the oil industry is causing all the wars around the world, but the suburbs were also made in a foundation of racism just to keep black people and minorities out of white neighborhoods. Do they cry because they live in the suburbs? Ron Placone, do you cry for that? Do you cry for living in a gentrified area? Probably, most likely. I'm assuming you do. In the inner city where it got a little posh, they moved out all the minorities out. Do you cry when you go to a coffee shop that exploits some third world country for their resource, and that very coffee shop is making things expensive for all the original people from the city to move out? Did you cry for that? So I just think it's fucking ridiculous that your friends are going to cry. I voted for Hillary. I think that's fucking laughable. The other thing I can't stand that Ron does here is that he brings up, well, Barack Obama did that too. Barack Obama also deported people. Okay, so what? Barack Obama's not president right now. Ron, do you know that? Trump is president right now, and you know what? Trump is actually incarcerating more deportees than ever before, and he's also separating more families than ever before, more than Barack Obama. So it's a new game. It's a new game changer. Yeah, I know Barack Obama's deported more than him technically, but Trump is getting rid of a lot of the civil rules of deportation. If you take notice in the news, he's ramping it up. Did you know that Trump pulled out of the global warming deal with the rest of the world? Barack Obama didn't exactly do that, did he? He actually joined in the Paris Agreement. So there's a huge direct difference right there, wouldn't you say? I think Placone also needs to realize that global warming is also more important than his friend crying in the car. Because, Trump, as much as you hate to admit it, Trump is actually worse on global warming than Hillary would ever be, and far worse than Obama. I mean, the guy wants to tap oil from national monuments. Whether you like to admit it or not, he's taking everything the extra step, the extra mile. The oil pipelines, the Keystone oil pipelines, and the North Dakota oil pipelines that you guys were so intensely against, and then Obama actually helped stop. He vetoed the oil pipeline. You know what Trump did right when he got into office? Nope. The pipeline will continue right away in your guys' face. So there is a difference there. Trump is quite possibly the worst candidate for global warming. And if you think your friend crying in his car is more important than global warming, do you think your friend crying in his car is more important than the future of humanity? Then I'm sorry, man. You got some weird, twisted perspective. And quite frankly, it seems like you got some strange, weird privilege going on there.